Well, thanks for joining us, Dave. It's FA Cup weekend, of course, and it's nice to be involved in that. You got over a tricky tie first time around, but let's talk a little bit, first of all, about the fans are coming back, and I'm pretty sure you're delighted about that.
Yeah, it's a real positive step. I think it's a positive step for not just football, but life in general. I think it helps everyone. You know, I was saying on BBC Radio Stoke last night about how it impacts the chippy across the road, how it impacts the person in the train station that sells newspapers, and it's, you know, we've obviously got to be really careful. We have still got to social distance, wear masks, wash your hands, all that kind of stuff. So that, you know, we've been doing that in the football club for months now. So, you know, that's nothing new to us. But the fans, I'm sure, the carrot of watching live football will adhere to the rules up and down the country. And then if they don't, then, you know, they don't deserve to be in football stadiums because the virus is still amongst us. It's still very much, you know, around us. So we've just got to make sure that hopefully a week on Saturday, I think it's a week, no, 2 weeks on Saturday, is it? Yeah, we've got Burton next Saturday. 2 weeks on Saturday, that everyone adheres to the rules and gives themselves plenty of time. We hope it's not chucking it down so everyone doesn't get wet, all that kind of stuff, because it should be a real good, happy. I stopped short as celebratory. You know, I don't. Lots of people have died, but it's certainly a step in the right direction. That's for sure.
There's no doubt about it. Just finally wrapping it up, and before we look into the weekend's game, that since March, and we've all loved our football game, we cannot realise what we've missed in terms of not having the fans there. There's a real buzz about it, isn't it? When there's the match day experience, really.
Yeah, that's. I don't think anyone could argue that the first few games behind, with no fans, the emotion wasn't there. You know, the emotions that everyone has, and it was a sterile environment. It's as simple as that. And some teams, some players, are helped by fans. There's no doubt in that. Partisan home support, full house, it helps. And likewise, there's some fans that definitely don't like a full house of partisan fans. So yeah, I think all in all, it's a real positive step, and hopefully they can clap if they can't shout and cheer. I'm not sure on that one, but you know, just having them there rather than a cardboard cutout will be a huge step forward.
So let's get to the action then. It's FA Cup weekend, as we say, and everybody knows, you know, what's at stake. It's the first game that gets you close, that you get closer to the third round. But this is the one. You've negotiated the first round, and it's something that's there for your team to try and reach round 3.
Yeah, it's important. You know, it's another game. We've got to try and win the game. They're coming thick and fast, so got to be mindful of that. But there's some significant prize money attached to it as well. So I suppose depends which side of the coin you look at. Do you want an extra game? You should have to move the fixture in the beginning of January. Or do you want the prize money? So, I suppose I'll give you my answer. 5 o'clock on Saturday, but it's the FA Cup. I spoke before the Bolton game. It's the magic of the FA Cup. It's an important cup competition that I think is the best in the world. So I think that's where we're at. There
are lucrative offerings, aren't there? There is no doubt about it. Yeah. You know, to get into every round that you play in it, really.
Yeah, there's this year more than any prize money is most welcome. So, you know, you never know. You by January the 2nd, there might be more than 2,000 to 4,000 fans, and you might get through that round, and then suddenly it's February, and all fans are back in, and it's 60,000 somewhere. You don't know what could happen, so you've got to take the game and try and win the game, because there's a lot of positive things riding on it.
Yeah, from the football side, from your point of view, and your staff and your players, it also brings with it, doesn't it, the whole club. If you can reach round 3, and who knows where it can take you, it puts you in the spotlight. That can only be good for any football club.
Yeah, of course. I said to you before the Bolton game, the Cowboys made their name on the back of significant cup runs over a couple of seasons and a promotion. I think Leeds and people like that. And Michael Flynn's doing a similar kind of thing down at Newport. They beat Spurs and Leeds, I think, as well. A few other teams. They're making a name for themselves in cup runs. So, that puts their club on the map. It brings in lots of revenue. So it's not to be sniffed at, that's for sure.
I just want to put a question to you, interested on your answer, of Ryan Wintle. When I think about Ryan Wintle over the last couple of years, he's been exceptional. He was a player of the year last season. And it's one of the fans pointed out, because you get involved in things. I think it's last 3 games, twice you've withdrawn him. I don't think he's ever been substituted for ages. Are you not too happy with his performance levels, or is it tactical?
He's done the tactical. I won't say we're disappointed with him. There's more to come from him, but there's more to come from him more. The other night, when he needed a goal, you take over your defensive midfielder. It's one of the positions you look at. If you lose 2-0, it makes no difference. If you bring off a defensive-minded player to put on an attacking player, I think certainly the last 18 months, we've always been winning games more often than not. So you definitely don't bring off defensive-minded players. It's as simple as that. I wouldn't read too much into it. If I'd say it's a good observation, but it's probably 2 and 2 is probably about 6.5 there. But we don't. I don't think of things like that. If I'm being honest, does that? What does people think about this? Or in the game, you make the decisions on substitutions and formations and personnel based on what you see at the time, and you hope that you get more right than wrong. I think when we went to Oxford, I think the subs definitely changed the game for us, hugely changed the game for us. The momentum went hugely in our favour. I don't think it made any difference the other night at Accrington, if I'm being honest. So you could say that's right substitutions, you could say it's wrong substitutions. I think personally it was just neutral, to be quite honest. So, because when you make substitutions, you hope that they do have a positive impact, like Oxford. So Ryan will be, if he comes on tomorrow or gets withdrawn tomorrow, then it's what we see before is not what's sort of gone before, or what we think in previous games or seasons. That's for sure.
Interesting, you mentioned Oxford there on a couple of occasions. I noticed that that's where Michael Duff took his opportunity to come and have a check on you. He's got you down as what he knows and what he can expect. But for you, it's another tricky tie, Dave. It was not easy to go to Bolton and win, but you've got to negotiate against a side that started really well in League Two and have had quite a lot of consistency, haven't they, over the last 12 months?
Yeah, they were a good side last year. They were one of the best. They just missed out. Obviously, they just missed out on automatic promotion. And I think if the season had have carried on, I think they'd have done it. And then obviously they had a real bad performance in the second leg of the playoffs. After such a good first leg as well. So we know that they're a handful. Obviously, we played them twice in 2 very close games last year. So we've got to make sure that we come out on the right side of the line this year as well. I think they've won 13 of the 20 games this season. So they're used to winning. Tight pitch, bit of a slope, long throws, set pieces, bit of quality. They've got a bit of everything. We know what to expect. I'm sure they know the same about us. They've got a good young manager who's done ever so well. He's certainly transformed the club, and they're heading in the right direction. And we've got to sort of put a bit of a spoke in their wheel for a week or two, and then let them crack on with their league campaign.
What about your injuries? Any updates on Mandron and Beckles for you for the weekend?
I had an update yesterday afternoon, but I haven't spoken to the physio this morning. So depending on what happened yesterday afternoon will impact on what I would say to you this morning, to be honest. So I don't actually even know what the current state of affairs is sat here.
No reaction from Chris Porter. Has he gone through fine?
He was fine. He was fine.
And just one final point. You've talked about it right at the beginning. How games are coming thick and fast. Does that impact on how your team selection comes about? You've got a game on Tuesday against Swindon in the league, or not?
Yes and no, I have to say. We don't look too far ahead. We haven't got the squad and the depth to look too far ahead in that sense. We've just got to make sure that we treat each game as it comes, and go from there. Pick the best 11 to win the game, and then see who's fit for the next game. That's sort of our philosophy.